Crucifixion Analysis, Part 2. Title 9, Day 3, Crucifixion. Matthew 17:6, quote, "When they heard this, the disciples fell on their faces, overcome with fear." Unquote. The Roman soldiers placed Simon Peter, James, and John on their faces to be fastened to the crosses. Matthew 17:7, quote, "But Jesus came and touched them. 'Stand up,' he said, 'do not be afraid,'" unquote. It was Titus talking to Simon Peter, James, and John. They were fastened to the crosses. Matthew 17:8, quote, "And when they raised their eyes, they saw no one but only Jesus," unquote. When they were raised up with the cross, they saw Titus only. In the above verses, at no time was Jesus fastened to the cross. Gospel writers have stated very clearly that it was Simon Peter, James, and John who were crucified on the three crosses. Title 10, Day 3, Depth Check, Matthew 26:43-44, quote, "And he came and found them asleep again, and prayed the third time," unquote. For 3 times, Titus came to check on the status of Simon Peter, James, and John. He was checking if they were dead. Matthew 17:46, quote, "At about 3 o'clock, Jesus cried out with a loud shout," unquote. Matthew 27:50, quote, "Jesus, when he had cried again with a loud voice, yielded up the ghost," unquote. John 19:30, quote, "He said, 'It is finished,' and he bowed his head and gave up the ghost," unquote. The above verses have declared that Jesus was dead. But at no time was Jesus crucified. It was Simon Peter, James, and John. How did Jesus end up on the cross to be crucified? Title 11, Day 3, Transfiguration. The link was tied to the transfigurations. Mark 9:4, quote, "And there appeared unto them Elijah and Moses, and they were talking with Jesus," unquote. John is Elijah, Matthew 11:13-14. Deuteronomy 18:18, quote, "I will send them a prophet like you from among their own people," unquote. God will send a prophet like Moses from among the rebels present at the crucifixion. The prophet was Jesus. Jesus must be a Jew, meaning Simon was the prophet. He was a Jew. But the entity of Jesus refers to both Simon and Titus. This makes the Jesus on the cross Simon. Jesus on the ground was Titus. Title 12, Day 3, Resurrection. Simon and Titus were the 2 partners of the Jesus entity. With Simon crucified and dead, Titus had become the sole owner. But before he can claim the messiahship, all titles must be authorized by his father Vespasian. John 17:10, quote, "All I have is yours, and all you have is mine," unquote. Emperor Vespasian had the power over the titles for the Messiah. Titus was requesting of his father to grant to him the titles of the Messiah. John 17:23, quote, "I in them and you in me, so that they may be completely one, in order that the world may know that you sent me," unquote. It was Titus making a declaration that the Father and Son is one. Everyone must know that it was Vespasian who sent Titus. John 17:26, quote, "And I have declared unto them your name, and will declare it, in order that the love you have for me may be in them, and I in them," unquote. Titus have declared to the Jews that his father is God, so that the Jews will love his father as the Father loves him. Titus in them is to convert to be a Jew. Title 13, Day 3, Second Coming. The second coming of Jesus is from the second resurrection. Simon was resurrected in Jerusalem before he was crucified in Rome. Simon was resurrected in Jerusalem to be crucified in Rome. He was resurrected from certain death in Jerusalem. In Rome, Simon was crucified in actual death. Simon never resurrected from actual death. It was Titus who was resurrected from Simon's actual death on the 3rd day of triumph. It was Titus who had risen to become Jesus, the Jewish Messiah. Luke 4:18, quote, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me. He had anointed me to preach the gospel," unquote. Titus was authorized by his father to preach the gospel in Israel. Titus died in the 81 CE. In Titus' first coming to Israel, he came as a Roman general and a pagan. He never returned life to Israel. Titus' second coming to Israel was in the Gospels as a Christian and a Jew. The preaching of the gospel is ongoing. Titus came, he's still here because the Gospels is here. The Gospels comprise of two resurrections. The first resurrection was from a disused state and certain death. The second resurrection was from Simon's actual death to the act of Titus rising from Simon's actual death. The Christian religion is based upon two resurrections. Resurrection by act and from certain death. The crucifixion happened. This brings the Christian religion into question. The claim for a resurrection from actual death is false. Bible scholars must step forward and present their claim for a resurrection from actual death. As it stands, and from this research, the Christian religion is based upon a false claim, that of actual death. It was a resurrection from an act of rising from death. The research documented into the Great Gospel Puzzle has thrown the complete Bible scriptures up for scrutiny. The research presents the following points. 1. The Gospel scriptures was created from literal events which occurred in Jerusalem and Rome. 2. The religion presents the location of the events as Israel. 3. The research has uncovered two resurrections and one crucifixion. 4. The religion of Christianity is based upon one resurrection and one crucifixion. 5. The research has proved the two resurrections are from certain death and the act of rising from death. It is outlined in the Gospels. 6. The religion has declared the resurrection as rising from actual death. This is the time for Bible scholars to rebut the research as presented in the writings of the Great Gospel Puzzle. The base of Christianity is the Gospel. The numerous interpretations designed to prop up the religion has moved away from its base. Christianity have nothing to stand on. The religion does not relate to the Gospels. Religion and Gospels are separate and apart. It is a failed religion. Get a copy of the Great Gospel Puzzle. The book can be purchased at this site.